Hello, it's lovely to see you again. I hope you are all doing really well. And it's been lovely to see some of your work on Class Dojo recently. So, today's lesson, let's see what we are doing today. So, we are doing newspapers. This is our second lesson on newspapers today. So, can you talk to somebody at home or at school, whoever's with you to talk to? Can you remember from our lesson before on newspapers, what were the 5 W's that we need to include in our newspapers? So, have a good think about that and talk to somebody who's with you. What were the 5 W's that we need to include in our newspapers? Pause the video now and have that chat. Well done. Shall we see if you were right? So the 5 W's are who, what, why or how, when, and where. So that's our 5 W's: who, what, why, when, and where. And they are the 5 things that we need to be thinking about when we are writing our newspaper articles. So the first one, who. We need to be thinking about who was involved or who saw what happened. So who was involved and who saw what happened? What happened? Can you tell me the story? Why? Or if you don't know why, then you could do how. So why did it happen? Why did the turtle swallow the plastic bag? Or if you don't know, how did it happen? When? When did it happen? Yesterday? Was it last week? This is an interesting question for you. Could I say in my newspaper that it happened tomorrow? How could we say it happened tomorrow? We wouldn't even know it's happened yet. Where? Where did it happen? Did it happen in Eastbourne? Did it happen at Pashley Down School? Did it happen in Cornwall? Did it happen in Scotland? We need to know where it happened. So we are going to be writing our newspaper articles today based on the story of Somebody Swallowed Stanley. And in case you haven't heard the story or you missed that in other lessons, I thought it would be nice to read the story to you again. So here we go. Somebody swallowed Stanley. Stanley swept into the sea with a splash and a splish. Perhaps he's one of us, thought the other jellyfish. But his stripes were too straight and his tentacles too few. He just floated in the sea, not sure what to do. You see, Stanley was no ordinary jellyfish. Then something terrible happened. Somebody swallowed Stanley. But who could it be? Her tongue was as rough as barnacles, her mouth vast as a cave. As she hummed her low song, Stanley tried to be brave. So who had swallowed Stanley? The creature stopped singing as Stanley slid down her slimy throat. She coughed and she spluttered, and then whoosh! With a rush and a rumble, steam burst from her spout. A whale had swallowed Stanley, but now he was out. Stanley dropped with a splash back into the sea, where he bobbed along gently calm and carefree, until something terrible happened. Somebody swallowed Stanley. But who could it be? With a sharp yellow beak and a small beady eye, the creature flapped his wings and rose up to the sky. But who had swallowed Stanley? He pecked and then snapped and he nipped, but Stanley wouldn't go down. More creatures flew over, first 2 and then 3. In all the flapping and squawking, squawk, 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 they let Stanley be. A seagull had swallowed Stanley, but now he was free. Poor old Stanley was ripped up, scruffy and torn. He sank and he sank and he sank. He sank down some more. But something terrible happened before he reached the sea floor. Somebody swallowed Stanley again, but who could it be? Her paddle-shaped flippers skimmed the seabed. She had a beautiful shell and a small, wrinkly head. So who had swallowed Stanley? She gasped and she spluttered and then started to choke too. But Stanley was stuck without much he could do. A turtle had swallowed Stanley. The creature was scared and swam quickly to shore. With Stanley stuck in her throat, she couldn't breathe anymore. The turtle closed her eyes and lay down in the sand, but then Stanley heard footsteps. Help was at hand. A kind boy on the beach came and tugged Stanley free, but then Stanley heard, "Plastic bags don't belong in the ocean blue. Creatures think you're a jellyfish and swallow you." Now with a rope and a branch, he made something new. What do we think he's going to make? A kite! Flying high in the air, Stanley soared to and fro, safe from the sea and all the creatures below. And that is the end of the story. So I believe that Mr. McInnes has already read that story with you, but I wanted to share it with you again just in case you hadn't seen it. And so that is what we are basing our activity on today, that story of Somebody Swallowed Stanley. So our activity is to create our own newspaper front cover, the newspaper article for the front cover. And like I did the other day, I split it into 3 challenges that you can choose from. So starting with the medium challenge, which I think most of you will probably do, you need to create the newspaper name and headline, and you can do these in bubble writing so that they're really powerful and shouting headlines. And then you need to write your newspaper story and remember the 5 W's that we used earlier. So that should help you with your writing. And then the first sentence should also summarize the story. So that should give the reader a good insight as to what has happened. And the easier challenge is the same as the medium challenge, but see if somebody at home can help you write down your ideas for the newspaper story. And the extra challenge, if you feel that you are up to it, is the same as the medium challenge, but see if you can add in amazing noun phrases and conjunctions. And I've got some ideas for you here to help scaffold your thinking about your newspapers. So we need to base it on the story Somebody Swallowed Stanley. So let's see some of my ideas. So who could it be? Who are we going to write our newspaper article about? Let's look at some of the main characters in the story. So we had Stanley. You could write your newspaper article about Stanley. Stanley saw the jellyfish first, and then the whale, and the seagulls, the turtle, and finally the boy. And the boy saved the turtle when he was swallowing Stanley. But you could write your newspaper articles about anything that happened to Stanley in the story. And then I've got some newspaper name ideas that you can magpie if you want to. So I've got Eastbourne's Marine Life, The World Beneath, Marine Life Weekly, Local Marine News, The Ocean, Monday Marine, Sunday Sea Life, and Ocean View. So feel free to magpie any of these ideas for your newspaper names. And then this is how we need to lay out our newspapers. Remember, we looked at the features of a newspaper yesterday, and then we worked out where they needed to go on the page. So we've got the newspaper name at the top here, the date and the price, then the big shouting headline, and then the main body of the text, which needs to be the first sentence summarizes what had happened. So that needs to give you a good insight into the story. Remembering your 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. Or if you don't know why, you can add how. Then you can draw a beautiful picture and colour it in. Don't forget to caption your picture there. And if you have too much text for that side, you can add some at the bottom there. And I have a template here that I think we're going to send to you via Class Dojo. So you can print that one off and write on there, or you can create one on an A4 piece of paper is fine. But that format is good, and it makes sure that we've got every single feature of the newspaper that we're looking for. So I created my own example newspaper based on the story of Somebody Swallowed Stanley. And I recorded myself creating my newspaper, and hopefully it will help you to be able to create your own. And you can always go back to other slides in this video to see if you want to magpie any ideas about who was in the story, or any newspaper name ideas, or anything else that I have shown you. Feel free to magpie some ideas. But here is my example newspaper. I hope you enjoy reading it. So there was my example of me creating my newspaper based on the story Somebody Swallowed Stanley. And you could see how I created it. So I started with the newspaper name first and worked down. So I'm going to leave this for you on this page, and feel free to magpie any ideas from my newspaper that you would like to. And I've got um, the different challenges here. So you can see the easier challenge, the medium challenge, and the extra challenge, and my newspaper example. So good luck. And I can't wait to read some of your amazing newspapers. Well done for everything that you are doing, and I will see you again soon, Year 2. Good luck.